Hey, welcome back, Fight Pants, to another episode of Bourbon and Boxing. This is your host, Jeff, episode 22, baby. Welcome to with me, sitting down here in the dungeon, watching a little bit of hockey, but you know what I mean. Hey, this is Bourbon and Boxing, and I want to introduce something I'm drinking on tonight. I got this yesterday, so of course it has already been open. Guys, I got a hold of some Buffalo Trace. It's been really hard to get a hold of this stuff. I've been hearing a lot about it, and it's been probably 3 months, as you can tell by everything up here. I have not been able to get hold of the Buffalo Trace. Nothing to do with price. The price on it's really decent and good, but it just seems to fly off the shelf the minute it comes in. So it's really hard stuff to get. Once again, Buffalo Trace. I don't know if you guys have ever had it. It is out of Kentucky, of course. Good old Kentucky bourbon. And I must say, man, it has lived up to the hype. I absolutely love this stuff. Nice and smooth. It's right up there with Woodford as far as the smoothness of it, but I like it a little bit more than Woodford taste wise, and the smoothness. So I definitely love me some Buffalo Trace, and it was worth the wait. Want to thank the lady at the store for putting it back for me. Appreciate you. And as you can see, I was drinking on it already, man. I got it yesterday, and I thought, hell no, I'm not waiting till tomorrow to try it. I've been waiting for it. Gonna open this bad boy up. Let me and my wife try it out. We did. We definitely enjoyed it. Good stuff. But hey, like I said, this is Bourbon and Boxing, man, where the drink is bourbon and the talk is boxing. I am your host, Jeff. We're going to get into some boxing talk, baby, down here in the dungeon. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Dungeon. Yeah, a delayed reaction, but they applauded me. But anyways, man, some good fights last week. We got to see Tim Tszyu, the Thunder from Down Under. Maybe that's what we should call the guy. The Thunder from Down Under. Tim Tszyu. We got to see Janabek. The guy he fought, not so great. Mendoza put up a hell of a fight. But hey, we'll get into that. First, let's jump into who our sponsor is. Of course, our sponsor is Brown Family Construction, baby. Any construction needs in the northern Kentucky area, feel free to hit up Brown Family Construction. I'll put the information at the end of the show like I normally do, as long as my editor is working. And we'll get that information up to you for any of your construction needs. Brown Family Construction, the name says it all, man. Brown Family Construction, where they treat you like family, baby. But once again, man, what is this show called? Bourbon and Boxing. And it's not bourbon and boxing until we take our shot of bourbon, man. Of course, this is Friday night. I've got a weird amount of days off of work. I don't work tomorrow, so I'm not really worried about getting tipsy. I don't know if I got enough here to get myself tipsy, but I know I can get me a nice little buzz tonight and not have to worry. The kid, it's Saturday. Kids ain't got school on Saturday. I'm off work tomorrow, so hell, I ain't worried about what happens. Sometimes I worry about what I say, but I ain't worried about what happens. Welcome, guys, man. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Bourbon and Boxing, man. We're going to look at this week's fight card coming up. We're going to talk about the fights last week, a little bit of news, a little bit of boxing talk, all that fun stuff. Maybe dive into the Fury Ngannou fight. I keep butchering this guy's name. I heard it up here like 17 times. Ngannou. Maybe I got it right there. All right, but hey, let's get this shot in us, man, and get this show started, guys. All right, man. All right. The fights that went on last week, we watched Tim Tszyu and Brian Mendoza. That was the fight I was most looking forward to. Janabek's opponent that he had on ESPN wasn't that great, but the undercard was a pretty good undercard. You got both Davis brothers on there. You got the return of Duke Reagan in the ring after some injury and prolonged time. He got back in the ring. We got to see him. But over on the other side, shout out to Sam Goodman, a young guy. I want to say he's out of the UK. I've watched him at least one other time. I know that on over on the Zone. Great, or might have been Showtime. But great seeing him, man. He looked really great in the ring last week. He was the co-main event on the Tim Tszyu card. Let's give that guy a shout out, Sam Goodman, man. Hell of a fighter, hell of a young fighter, man. Good to see him. I'd like to see a lot more of him in the future, hopefully. But anyways, Tim Tszyu, Brian Mendoza, heck of a fight. Tszyu dominated the fight. Mendoza showed heart. You know what I mean? Showed heart, never gave up, never gave in. And Tszyu did what I said he was going to do, guys. He pressures guys. He puts the pressure on how Mendoza was going to handle it. Was he going to be able to counter Mizzou and was he going to be able to counter Tszyu and get him with a nice heavy punch? Tszyu didn't allow that to happen. Kept the pressure on him. And it's not like Mendoza didn't throw punches. He actually threw maybe 24 more punches. I think it was 433 to 406 punch count, something like that. So Mendoza threw the more punches, but Tszyu landed the more accurate punches, and it just wasn't taken in, and more power punches also, and wasn't allowing Mendoza to use what he has, his power punch in his arsenal, man. Controlled that fight, looked really good, and it makes you think, will Charlo fight Tszyu? Will this fight happen in 2024? Will it be the first fight for both of these guys in 2024? When are we going to get it? Early in 2024 or later? You know? Goodness. Damn, man. But will we get that later in 2024? Will we get it early in 2024? I think Charlo's going to take a little bit of time off after fighting Canelo. He got a big payday. Is Tszyu willing to take a little bit of time off? He said he wants to come over to the States. That's his last fight in Australia. He wants to come over to the U.S. So is he going to come over, give somebody else a chance to fight him? And, this is where Charlo's got to watch out. Spence is talking about moving up, and a Spence and Tszyu fight is a heck of a fight. And I think, let's say Spence beats him in that. Well, I don't know. That sets up a Spence-Charlo fight if those two would actually fight each other being in the same stable. So I don't know. That might create a little bit of controversy unless Crawford comes up to 154 at some point, and then you got a mega division there. But I think Tszyu-Charlo has to be the next fight. At 154, these guys had to fight the unified division, and I think it would be a heck of a fight. I think Tszyu's biggest thing that Tszyu has to do to stop shuffling his feet, get that jab right. He's got to get a jab. He's got to get his jab right. If he adds a jab to his arsenal, he's even more deadlier than what he is, and he's able to set up and be more aggressive. I think if somebody can work with him to add that jab to his arsenal, Tim Tszyu is definitely more deadly. But right now, I would favor Charlo in that fight because he has a better, jab to him. And I just think he right now is the overall better fighter than Tszyu. Tszyu shuffles his feet a lot, and I think Charlo would use that against him and turning him and all that kind of stuff. But don't get me wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Not saying Tszyu doesn't have a chance to win that fight. He absolutely does. And he's definitely one of the best in 154. He showed that against Brian Mendoza, as he dominated Mendoza, who's a really good, tough fighter, guys. So that was a good fight for Tszyu. Is Charlo next? Let's hope so, guys. If so, how's that fight go? You guys tell me what you think. Who do you favor, Tszyu, or do you like Charlo, man, in that fight? I kind of favor Charlo just a little bit, but as time goes, I might change my opinion, man, but that's just my opinion. Tune in and tell me what your opinion is on that Tszyu-Charlo fight. Who do you guys like? Also, on the other card, Janabek fought Gutierrez, I think that was the guy's name. I didn't realize it. I knew he wasn't being active in the fight, and I thought, well, Janabek's just absolutely dominating this guy. Who is he? I didn't know anything about this guy. Supposedly, nobody else did either. And he shouldn't have been in the ring. Now everybody's talking about who's next for Janabek. The good thing about Showtime not being there, and not a good thing, man. It's never good that a company that's been around for 37 years and has done what they have done for the sport of boxing goes under. So it's never a good thing. But now PBC is on the outskirts looking for a new provider. If you get like a Matchroom, or you get they're saying Amazon is kind of in the lead, but then I'm also hearing Amazon's not in any rush to get that deal done. So we'll see. I think PBC might be in limbo. Hopefully not going into 2024 because I don't know how that goes for their fighters and scheduling fights for them. But anyways, man, I think if you can get Janabek versus Carlos Adams, I think that's or Adames, Carlos Adames. I think that's an incredible fight right there. That's a fight that definitely tests Janabek. Adames is an incredibly good fighter, great power puncher, and I think those two in the ring would be a hell of a fight, man. And hopefully you could get that done in 2024 with those two guys. PBC is going to be, depending on who they sign with, if when they were with Showtime, ESPN and Showtime really didn't work together. They don't work together. So DAZN and Showtime have worked together. So PBC would have that relationship with DAZN if PBC signed with DAZN. Oh well, shit. Well, that fight would happen, but it'd be easier to get those type of fights done. ESPN has worked with DAZN. That's what I was trying to say, guys. I got mixed up there. ESPN has worked with DAZN or Matchroom, so I think that they could make that fight happen. Better to work with them than Showtime for some reason. They didn't work well together, guys. That's all I know. But Janabek definitely needs to be tested, man. That's all I know. He hasn't been tested yet by anybody at all, and this fight definitely didn't do him any favors. I mean, this guy threw 85 punches the entire fight. 85 punches. Can you imagine? I mean, I think he, fuck, what was the stoppage on the fight? I don't know when it got stopped, but he only got 85 punches, and that's just horrible, guys. Competition for Janabek definitely has to step up. The only problem is who is it going to be when he doesn't work with these other stables? I'd love to see a Eubank Jr. who just beat Liam Smith. I would love to see that fight happen. I think that would be a hell of a fight for Janabek. I favor Janabek in that one, actually. Would I favor Janabek against Adames? I don't know, man. Like I said, he just hasn't been tested, so it's hard for me to gauge where he's really at or how good he really is. We see that he has the potential. He shows the potential, but his level of competition hasn't lived up to, a Carlos Adames or a Chris Eubanks Jr. or Liam Smith, some of these other guys out there at the middleweight position. So, does he move up to 168, try to challenge Canelo, get a Canelo fight, something like that? I don't know. But I think it'd be best if he could try to, Carlos Adames, or Chris Eubanks Jr., I think would be a good fight for Janabek to really test him, guys. Ooh, nice. Man, I love that stuff. It's good. But anyways, man, those were the fights last week. There was, like I said, some really good undercards. We got to see the Davis brothers. Now, the issue that I'm having with what I see with Keyshawn Davis, same thing I saw with Duke Reagan. These guys got all the boxing ability. They don't seem to carry the power, so I don't know how far they can go. And I'd love to see a Keyshawn versus Frank Martin fight happen. I'd love to see that fight go on once again with PBC being, up and bounds. You can maybe start getting some of these fights with the Showtime and ESPN or PBC and ESPN actually top rank. Get some of those fights done with those guys, and get like a Davis versus Frank Martin fight, which I think would be a hell of a fight for Davis to really test to see where he's at. I favor Frank in that fight. Just more experience, overall better fighter, better footwork, and a little bit more power than what Davis has. So I would definitely favor Frank in that fight, but Davis needs to be tested. I don't know if he wants any more of Andy Cruz Jr., but that might be a nice little testing for him. He lost to that guy a few times in the amateurs, so maybe some get back for him if he could put a fight against Andy Cruz Jr., who, if I'm correct, was he on a card last week or he's on a card this week? One of the two. Man, I forgot. It might have been last week, which was a great fight. I think it was last week Andy Cruz was on there, and I didn't get to see that, to be honest with you. Damn, salty. I'm going to have to go back and try to find it. But anyways, I was saying, these guys don't have any pop to their punches, so how far can they go, man? Good, talented fighters. And I guess we see a Devin Haney out there, a guy that doesn't have power, and he's dominating, most of the fighters that he fights, and he's doing it without knocking them out, and he's doing it with getting the decisions, uh, and the unanimous overall wins. He's not knocking anybody out, and he's still doing his thing. And I watched him work with Freddie Roach earlier today. Looks really good, man. Devin looks like he filled out really well to that next 140 weight. I think it fits him really, really well, man. He looks like he's in shape, man, and he looks like he's in healthy shape. So watch out for Devin at 140, man. I think he's going to dominate Regis. We'll get more into that. I don't want to. I think I got a little head on myself. That fight, definitely looking forward to. But like I was saying, good undercards last week, good overall fights. What's next for these guys? Can Tszyu and Charlo get that deal done at 154 so we can unify that division? Can Janabek get a big fight against somebody, Carlos Adames or Chris Eubanks Jr., one of those guys? Get him in there with those guys. This week we have a pretty decent card. My fight of the week, I would have to say, was Jack Cottrell is going against Jorge Lanier. So that fight, man, is going to be a tough one. I think both of these guys in an already stacked 140 division, they have to make themselves stand out somehow. So one of these guys have to dominate this fight. I'm going to favor Cottrell. Lanier knows he's got to beat him to really cement his name into the 140 to show that he's serious and that he is a contender. So watch out for that young, hungry guy. Haven't got to watch much on him, so I'll be excited to kind of get to watch him a little bit, see what he can do in there against a good fighter like Jack, who we all saw against Josh Taylor, man. He looked really well. And that was really all I've really seen of Jack Cottrell, too. I can't really say much. I think I saw another fight after that Joshua fight where he looked okay. He didn't, or not Joshua, not Joshua, but Josh Taylor fight where he looked okay. He didn't look as good as he did against Taylor. So we'll see what he has to bring to the ring. I think he's a good fighter. I favor him a little bit in this one because I think he knows he has to get his name out there. That one loss against Taylor set him back farther than what it would have most fighters because he was just making his name as an undefeated fighter, and he got his opportunity at a big name. Went out there, showcased what he had a great fight, got robbed, in my opinion. I think he beat Taylor. I think we all saw it. He got robbed, so that set him back for a guy that was coming up that didn't have that name yet and was on the verge of making his name. So let's see if he can continue to do that at the 140, where there's a shitload of talent at. I mean, Teo, Haney, Prograis, Zepeda. I mean, you got Cottrell, Montana Love at 140. I mean, there is a lot of talent in the 140 division and a lot of good fights that could be made. So let's see if Jack can put his name in the hat to be up there for one of those belts or to be in a fight with a big name guy like Teofimo or get him a big fight against Haney. Haney might be, if Haney works with Matchroom really, really well. So if Haney beats Prograis and Cottrell shows out in this fight against Lanier, why not give him an opportunity to fight Haney? I don't think he beats Haney. Haney's on another level, guys. Just really think this guy's a special talent, and I think he's overlooked a lot because he's not a power puncher. But we'll get back to that later on in the show. I don't want to get too much into it, man. There's other fights on the schedule this week. We will get Alexis Rocha back in the ring this week against Santinelli. I don't know. I got to say it in the language or something. But he's in the ring. I don't know much about the guy he's fighting. Rocha is a guy, once again, he's made a name for himself, but he's trying to continue to make that name for himself in his division. Let's look. That fight is going to be, of course, that's on the zone. Rocha is a Matchroom fighter. Yeah, so he's trying to make his name in the welterweight, man. Give him an opportunity at a guy like Crawford and, maybe a couple of Josh Taylor's now in that division. I keep telling you guys, Josh Taylor is now a welterweight at 147. So that could open a door for Alex Rocha if he goes out and shows does what Rocha does. Rocha is a great fighter, guys. So I expect he'll do what he's going to do tomorrow. He's going to win, I expect, and then maybe set up a fight against a Josh Taylor who's is in limbo. Man, he needs a fight. I'm pretty sure after coming off that Teofimo Loma loss, he needs to solidify. And the Jack Catterall controversy, and then the Teo loss, he definitely has to come and get a win. So he needs somebody, in my opinion, like Rocha or some of these other guys to establish his name to try to get a big win at 147 and get his name back out there, guys. But also give a little shout out here. We got tomorrow over here in the States, Boxer Promotional Company. I think I talked about this on one of my shows last week. Boxer Promotional Company has signed a deal with Peacock and NBC Sports. Well, actually, NBC Sports. And on Saturday, for the first time, NBC Sports will again air boxing on Peacock Saturday night. That fight was supposedly was supposed to be Bawatsi versus Aziz. And then something happened with Aziz. He got injured. So now it's going to be the undercard. They just moved the co-main event up. Mikel Lawal versus Isaac Chamberlain. Should be a good little fight, guys. So tune into that one on Peacock, man. Let's support that. That's another platform for the U.S., which I'm liking. They're out of Britain. So you guys don't realize, man, really good fighters out of Britain, man. That's the one thing I like about the zone is I get a lot of those European fights over to see across the pond, man. Always good fights going on over there, man. So tune into Peacock and check out Boxer and support that platform so that NBC continues to carry him, guys. We want to see that continue to happen on Saturday. Fights on Peacock would be awesome. Another platform in the U.S. and then PBC lands some other platform. We need these platforms. We can't lose them and not replace them, guys. We're losing big companies like Showtime and HBO. Boxing is not dying in the States, but it's just not a national program. It's just something that's not being put on national TV now, which sucks for big time fans like me. But tune into that fight. I'm pretty sure they've got a pretty good undercard on that. I hope, that they're going to put together a well undercard. I will be tuning in to the Cottrell fight. I'll be tuning into the Peacock event also. I have multiple TVs going. I'll definitely be tuning into that, checking that out and supporting that platform so that we could continue to get it here in the States. But like I said, guys, man, get into a little bit of boxing talk. My opinion, man, I saw Devin Haney doing a little bit of workout on I caught it on YouTube. He was working out with Freddie Roach on his power. And I'll tell you what, guys, he looks like he's filling out 140 really, really well and very healthy looking. And them punches sounded like they had a little impact on him. So I'm telling you guys, man, if Devin can somehow figure out how to get a little bit of power with his overall ability, he's the best in the game, in my opinion. Because if he can add power, that's what's going to make him absolutely untouchable, dude, because he has all the ability in the world. And I think a lot of prop has to be given to his father, who trained him coming up, but then also allowed him to be trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr. and all kinds of other trainers out there that he's put him with to get different aspects of the sport and boxing and add to his arsenal. Devin Haney pretty much is the best overall fighter in boxing, I think. He has the best arsenal overall. He just lacks the power, has been his biggest flaw. And a lot of the time, he said, being at 135, it was hard for him to make weight. He wanted to move up a while ago. He didn't really look good against he looked good. I mean, boxing-wise, he looked great against Lomachenko. Health-wise, he looked a little bit drained. So to see him at 140 looking healthy, throwing some power punches, working on his power, a part of his game that he knows he lacks, again with a great guy like Freddie Roach that can show him how to really utilize his power or obtain his power, I think could be a really good thing for Devin Haney. I think he's going to put on a show against Regis Prograis, and he's going to show everybody why he is right now in my opinion, hard to argue, the best in boxing right now. The kid's got the overall talent, and a lot of people don't like him. And that's what comes with boxing. When a fighter's not the most popular or he's not a knockout artist, people want to knock him. But this guy went over to Australia, chased those belts. He didn't care what the money was. He chased them. He chased his dream. He wanted to be a champ. He did that, unified a division. Now he's moving up. He's hungry to unify another division and show why he is the best in the game. So look forward to that fight with Prograde. But like I said, I think he's going to put on a show for us guys. So I look forward to that. Trying to think some other news. Oh yeah, man. Hey, check it out. On Wednesday, I found Probox TV. I don't know if you guys know much about Probox TV, but definitely give these guys a check out, man. They put on a pretty good fight card. It's a new platform. I found them on YouTube. That's where I found them out. Check them out on there. I don't know where else they might advert where they might showcase their platform from, but I caught them on YouTube. Wednesday fights. Oh my God, great if we could get Wednesday boxing back. That would be awesome. I don't know how many fights they're gonna give us on a Wednesday, or what the plans are for Probox TV. But I really, really like it, man. Their announcers are really good. What I hear so far, what I've heard from them, they're pretty good announcers. They put on a hell of a fight card for us. I really enjoyed what I saw Wednesday. Definitely want to give ProBox a shout out, man. You guys did a hell of a job on Wednesday. I look forward to watching more boxing with you guys for sure, 100%, and talking more about your platform on my show 100%, man. I want to get to know your fighters a little bit more so that I can get more in depth with using you as another platform for my show, man. More boxing for me to talk about, more boxing for fans to hear about. It can only be good, baby. It can only be good. Like I said, you got Boxer over in the UK. You got Probox TV, The Zone. Now, we lost Showtime, guys, but look at the good that comes with the bad, good and bad. Boxing is not dead. Trust me, guys. It is at its best right now. It's going to be at its best. It's growing. I think, you got guys like Ryan Garcia, guys like Teofimo Lopez, who are advocating for change in the sport. Even Tank Davis has come out and said it. Shakur Stevenson has mentioned it. These guys are ready to come out to change the face of boxing. They're ready to change it up, to make it more of a national level sport, man, to make it more popular, to bring it to a bigger stage, to make it more unified and less of a wild, wild west sports, guys. I love seeing these young guys do that. Like I said, as much as this young generation might get on some people's nerves, they're a smart generation, man, with technology and all that. They see, they make changes, they move forward. You can call them stubborn. I call it power, strong-headed generation, man. These guys are pushing forward the sport of boxing. That's what I want to see. So, we're losing Showtime, and that absolutely sucks. But we're gaining a ProBox TV. We're gaining Boxer TV over here in the States. Who knows who's going to pick up PBC and how that's going to go, where they're going to go. But let's hope they land on a good platform and we get another platform here in the U.S. and boxing continues to grow the way that we saw it grow in 2023 so far, guys. We're not even done with the year. We got some good fights coming up. That's going to end our year and all that fun stuff. But man, boxing is at an all-time high. I really, really, truly believe that. And I think that with these platforms like ProBox TV, showcasing more Eye of the Tiger, man, give those guys a shout out. I told you guys about them guys a few times. Almost forgot they're up in Canada. That's another platform, North American platform, guys. Regardless if it's in America or North America, wherever it's at in the Americas, we're getting those platforms, Eye of the Tiger, ProBox TV, and Boxer TV, which is over in the UK, but still they're over here in the States now with a contract with NBC Sports. Man, that's a good look up for boxing. So, like I said, it does good for my show because we drink bourbon and we talk boxing here, guys. And I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Bourbon and Boxing, man. I'm your host, Jeff. This is my show. Check me out on Facebook. I've got a group, Bourbon and Boxing, where I keep it updated daily. You can get on there, comment, talk to me all you want, man. Post things on my group. I like to see people be active on there. Also, hit me up in here, comment on here, subscribe, hit that like button, all that fun stuff, man. All that fun stuff, guys. Let's take this last shot and call this show an end, guys. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Bourbon and Boxing, episode 22, guys. Thank you.